Hi, Sparrows. Hello, Sparrows. It is Matters of the Heart Monday. Welcome in. I am Valerie Miller of TVM, the Valerie Miller Double Fold. This very moment, you have opportunity to change. And of course, it is Matters of the Heart Monday, and we have a fabulous guest with us tonight. We have Pastor Alonzo G. Morris. He's going to be having conversation with us this evening, and I'm all the way excited about it. And hopefully you are going to be in with us and to engage as well. Welcome to the room, Benny Gandy. Thank you so much for dropping in. And be sure, whatever you do, go ahead and share and share as soon as you drop into the room, because somebody somewhere needs to hear what we are going to be talking about tonight. And of course, every engagement when it comes to Matters of the Heart Monday comes from How I Became Fabulous and a Lady All the Time. It comes from my book. I pull a chapter out of this book, and we have conversation around that with a musical guest. And that musical guest this evening is Alonzo Morris, and he should be coming in with us in a moment now. Welcome to the room, Whittington Still. And of course the topic, I had on the timeline earlier today about consciousness, and we're looking at talking about impromptu transformations and changes that take place in our lives. Sometimes we are caught off guard by it, and there are times when we become who we are due to those impromptu transformations. So when it comes to topic for tonight, it's going to be coming from chapter 7, and that's masterpiece, and talking about the masterpiece of who we are as individuals once we are defined and know exactly who we are. So that's going to be topic tonight. Think about who you were before transformation took place in your life. Take a moment. Think about that. Yeah. Because I go back into this chapter, oh my gosh, when we start talking about the masterpiece of myself, who I have become, because we are all traditionally masterpieces in the end, and that's only when we have awakened in some fashion. Something has happened in our life to where we are now woke. That simple. Yes, Whittington. I have to make it over to my mailbox for my copy. Yes, thank you so much for ordering, Whit. I look so forward to hearing your review. I cannot wait. Thank you, Veronica Morris. Thank you so much. You're so sweet and kind. Happy birthday to you, Shatavia. And Kim, hello. Welcome in. And Alonzo, I see you have popped into the room, so I'm going to go ahead and bring you on camera. I'm going to get you in here so we can go ahead and get started with conversation. I'm so excited. In the room with us, Alexandra Vulcan, welcome in. I am thrilled. And thank you so much for taking time out of your schedules to come in yet again, spending time with me. I do appreciate it every single week. And like I said, be sure to go ahead, share, as sharing is caring. Alonzo, don't forget to turn your phone over to the side. Be sure to do that. You're going to have to go ahead and issue me an invite to come on, because I'm unable to send you another invitation. So if you can hear me, definitely do that. So gosh, it's Monday, the Monday before Memorial Day. Summer's here. The launch of summer is next Monday. How are you feeling about that? I'm excited to have this hot weather for once. I'm so thrilled about the weather. It's scorching hot, yes. However, it's not like rain. It's not like snow. It's not like brick cold weather. It's none of that, right? It's none of that. You shared via Messenger. Thank you so much, Whit. If everybody could share, because sharing is caring, it is so nice of each of you. So, Sparrows, please tell me, how has your day been? Tell me one thing fabulous about your day, something you are grateful for. And I see that it's another declined Alfonso. Honey, yes, be sure to send me another invite so we can get you on in here and get our conversation started. It's always nice, for me to just kind of chat it up just for a little bit to welcome everybody in and just to show some appreciation for you coming in. I am grateful for each and every sparrow. And so if you're on vacation this week, fabulous. If you're not, but you're just excited about the holiday coming in, wonderful. Wonderful and wonderful. Be sure to give some thumbs ups and some likes and loves. Show me something to let me know that you can hear me clearly in the room. So we can go ahead and get started. I think I might even read just a tad bit of what Masterpiece is about. I think I'm going to be able to do that. We had such a great time earlier. Such a great time. Thank you so much, ladies and gents. I appreciate you. As long as you can hear me, then I can go for it. Alonzo is doing his very best to get in here, and I'm hopeful that he can pop in at any given moment. I hope that I sent the invitation to the right location. I am really hoping, because he has 2 spaces here, 2 Facebook accounts. It wasn't a problem earlier, but it wouldn't be right that we not have some point of a fluke. It's just not right. It is social media. It serves its purpose for whatever it is, and I'm grateful for it. Otherwise, we wouldn't be connected right here, right now. But before we lose everybody in the room, it would be awesome to get our guest in. Every minute to take 2 steps forward is always going to flail, some way 1 step back. Mercy in the morning. This is going to be it. Patricia Solomon, cousin, welcome to the room. It's so good to see you. Be sure to turn your phone to the side, Alonzo, and you should be in momentarily. Hello, Raj. Welcome in. Good to see you as well. We're going to talk about being masterpiece. No matter what we look like before, no matter who we are at present, no matter where we are going to become, it's a masterpiece. Thank you, Kim Kim. Thank you so much. I love it, and thank you so much. And I am really, really practicing patience. Practicing patience is something that we all have to work on at times. We have to practice it. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you, Whit. Since it's springtime, going into summer, it's time to bring out all the bright colors. I love bright colors, and one-piece dresses is just my thing. If you know me, then you know that. I'm all about the one piece. You can hear me, Alonzo. You can hear me. You just cannot come in. Interesting. Well, I want to send you another invite. I don't know what it is. It just could be the time of day. I think it could be because of 7 o'clock coming on. However, I say a million thanks to each of you for your patience. Our guest is going to be in here super fast. And anytime when it's going to be a juicy conversation, something that's needed to be heard, something that one of you or somebody somewhere needs to hear, it's always going to be just a little bit of hesitancy with the connection. That I have learned, that I have learned, and not even understanding not understanding what is going on. However, I'm going to send up one. Lord Jesus, please allow Alonzo to come on into the room so we can get this conversation started. It's the first time for everything, and he is the actual first pastor that we've privy to have on. Now, there are a couple of others that's going to be coming on later during the summer, all the way fabulous. Each and every one has something juicy to share, amazing lives, testimonies that will blow your mind. And starting with Alonzo, he's one. He's definitely one. So I'm going to go ahead and send a quick, shout out to all of my replayers. If you're going to be coming in and you're going to be catching the replay later, do me the favor, definitely share, share, share. I'm going to say it throughout the broadcast. You're right, Whittington. It took us about 5 attempts. It took us that many times to get you on that night. But guess what? You showed up in the room and it was that fabulous. Barbara Miller, my sister, I love you so much. Thank you so much for coming into the room. Jabo Jabo, come on in, get comfortable. Hopefully you've had some dinner. You have something to drink. You have some questions up your sleeve that you may want to ask, or be sure to participate. Whatever you do, participate, engage tonight, because we're talking conversations, we're talking masterpiece. You have an awesome Bronx tale. Okay, Kim, that's fabulous. I want to hear more. Bill Gobin, welcome in. Haven't talked to you in a while, so welcome into the room. Get comfy, put your feet up. It's a beautiful day. It is a Halo Monday. So think about being at home, relaxing, enjoying yourselves, and do that. Just chill out for a moment. We're trying to get Alonzo in. It's going to be that fabulous. Anytime there's, ruffles in the waves, there's some procrastination, we have to take 25 attempts to come into the room, that can only mean one thing. And you know what I'm going to say. It's juicy. It's a juicy conversation. Yes, indeed. You may have to make an attempt from your other connection, Alonzo. You just might have to do that because it's nothing else I can do from this end, sir. Jerome Rosabero, welcome in. Welcome in. I've already sent up a prayer, so Big Brother is going to make it rain in a minute. He's going to show up and show out. And then when Alonzo's in the room, because I'm sure some of his followers are coming in as well, we're all excited about this. It's been months since we've been making preparation for him to come on to this show. And, it has, I don't know, maybe a little bit to do with East Coast, West Coast. We were talking a little bit earlier on the mini commercial, and, it's always some form of a beef or some form of something when it comes to East Coast, West Coast, with the exception of tonight. It's all love when it comes to matters of the heart. Anything TVM, all in love, period. That is it. So be sure, do what you do, Alonzo. Get in here. No, I'm not in New York, Kim. I'm in North Carolina. But you know what? I'm very intrigued and kind of captivated by what you did just the other night with Whittington Steele, our one, our only, our fabulous gal. That was a great segment. So I say thank you. So she's a Sparrow, and now you've been adopted into the family as well. So I'm always, keeping my eyes and ears open to newness. And when it comes to meeting new people, making those connections worldwide, it doesn't matter. That's the privilege of having the World Wide Web. Well, Alonzo, I can make that attempt for your secondary phone. I will see what I can do because we are having a situation with this one. But you know what? One of them is going to work. That simple. And just make sure that you're on my page and you're into the live, and then I can make an attempt to bring you on. Because until you are, I can't send out an invitation or anything. Yes, KTW, DSK Studios. It's new, and I like the concept of it. I love the live stream. I love how you were promoting Whittington. You can't go wrong with that. I'm doing what I do, Jabo Jabo. I most definitely am. And you're looking good. Keep up that good work with your workouts. I see you. I see you. And that is for sure. So don't think for a minute I'm not on your timelines. I am. I see what you're doing all the time. This sparrow get around, I'm telling you. I see a lot from up top. Can't be a sparrow and fly high and not see down low of what's going on within community in different states and different time zones. Trust and believe when I say I'm everywhere. I am. I am always looking. Yes, I can totally appreciate that. And usually it doesn't take quite this long. But what I am grateful for is that everything is on the up and up. It's on the up and up. We're not having any too much of this nonsense as we've had in the past. I just want to hurry up and get Alonzo in so we can get started. You know, we're losing momentum here, you know, because I'm going to start sharing too much. And I don't want to start the conversation without him. He is a part of this conversation, y'all. Goodness. But then, like I said, you can't go wrong. Expect the unexpected. It happens. It happens. It's out of our control. However, timing is everything. Absolutely everything. And he has two connections here. And I don't know how to go about bringing on the secondary one if you don't have that on and you are a part of the live, Alonzo. I know you said bring you on with the other phone, but I simply just cannot do that until you include it. What I will do, and you know, every sparrow in this room who's been following me for quite a while know just how quick I am to pick up the phone, and I will call you. I will definitely pick up the phone and call and see what's going on. I'm not sure, are you turning the phone to the side? Because you're showing up in the room. That's all that matters. Give you his address and you'll go get him. Thanks, Kim. I really appreciate that. He's in Sacramento. He's all out West Coast. Go ahead and come into the room with that phone, Alonzo, and then I can bring you on. Otherwise, until you do, I can't. I appreciate that. We're going to have TVM Airways sooner than later. And I'm down here so I don't have to bend down to the floor to get my phone. So I'm using my feet as if I don't have hands. How about that? Any and all things happen in the room. Totally unscripted. So that's all I have to say about that. Good thing I didn't have shoes on. Oh my gosh, I used my feet and picked up my phone. Wow. Only here. Only here. Hi, Ella. Ella Marie Wallace. Hello, darling. Thank you so much. I'm celebrating summer. Totally celebrating summer. So just do your very best to hang tight. Hang tight. Trust me, Alonzo and I have gone through this already twice today. Everything was peachy. Everything was peachy. Now, all of a sudden, we got to rebuke ye Satan. You know, he is always trying me on Mondays and Wednesdays. Every week, he's got to show up and act like he has power. He has none here. There is no power here. No. This is the Lord's house. And that's how we're going to look at it. That's simple. Just smile. Have some grace through it all. It's not that big of a deal because timing is everything. And once he get into the room, it's going to be on time. We're going to carry on with this conversation. It's going to be juicy. And then you get to meet Alonzo, East Coast, West Coast tonight. That simple. That simple. And don't think for a minute I don't appreciate each and every one of you for hanging around. I know it's going to be some in and some out or whatnot, but filter in, fly out, do what you have to do. May huge angels of peace surround us. Absolutely with. Oh my gosh. Oh, Lord. I always got to send them up. Every time you turn around, you got to send up something and have some grace around this place. Yeah. But there are times we can't do anything. Our hands are literally tied. It is tied, which means practicing patience is powerful. This I have learned, and I had to learn it the hard way. So I just grin and laugh right on through it because it's not that big of a deal. It's going to happen one way or the other. And you know, like I said, like how I do it, if I can't get you side by side with me, I am quick to pick up the phone and I will call you and the conversation will continue. That easy. And this is probably going to be the final attempt. I just would appreciate you guys being able to see Alonzo. It's so much more engaging when you can have the guests side by side. I don't even have this thing set up to where I can even show a picture. But then of course you saw him on my timeline today. I put that up on the flyer. But that's besides the point. It's not coming up any different, Alonzo. Still showing that same connection. I need the Alonzo with the G, Morris, your other phone. Okay, time's up. I'm calling it, and I'm just going to call you on the phone. This is too much right here. It's too much. It's been how many minutes? I don't even know. It's been 22 minutes. My gosh, trying to get him into the room. Not the answer. Not today or any day. So what I'm going to do is give him a quick buzz. That's how we do it over here. That's how we do it. Time is of the essence. It's very valuable. And we can't go backwards, only forward.
Hello.
Hello, sir. What in the name of the Christ is going on?
I am sitting here trying to accept your request and rotating my phone. I don't know. I think the enemy just did not want us to connect, but we still connected.
Not today. Not at TVM. Valerie Miller, she picks up the phone.
I do have phone number 2, but it seems like you said you weren't able to get that one either.
Did you enter the room with that?
I'm on your page, and but the live feed, for whatever reason, is not on my phone number 2. So.
Well, you're talking on phone. Yeah, you're talking on phone 2. That's what you were trying to come in on. However, you know what? If it's okay with you, Sparrows, we're just gonna go ahead and engage. Like, we don't have to have a visual when we can have an audio, one and the same, and we'll just take it from there because time is of the essence, and we just need to go ahead and get this conversation started. So, would you please give a round of applause and welcome in Alonzo Morris. Yes, Mr. Sacramento. Mr. Sacramento in the house, Pastor Morris. Please introduce yourself to the Sparrows.
Good evening. I'm Alonzo Morris, and I pastor a church here in Sacramento called Paradise, and I'm happy to be sharing with my friend Valerie tonight, and looking forward to just having a great conversation.
There it is. You heard it from him directly. So you, sir, you are a pastor, and you know, of course, you're a man and a man of God, and there's things that you do. However, topic, as we were mentioning earlier, is on consciousness and the impromptu transformations, changes that take place in our lives, right?
Most definitely.
And it's all about how you look at those transformations. So sometimes we become who we are due to those transformations. And I know I speak from example when I write about perfect masterpiece, chapter 7 in my book, How I Became Fabulous and a Lady all the time, right? I became who I am because of trials, because of things that I never knew would take place in my life, and I'm actually grateful for it. Pain, nobody wants to welcome that, hurt, broken hearts, and all of that when it comes to different matters of the heart. However, I became fabulous because of it.
Yes, indeed. There's a principle in leadership that says 85% of people. Well, let me say it this way: about 5% of people are born natural leaders.
Mm-hmm.
There's about 15% or so that become leaders out of crisis. And then there's about 70% of people that become leaders because they were taught or they learned how to become someone mentor them.
Right.
Most of our transformation doesn't happen naturally. It happens because of either there's a crisis and necessity becomes the mother of invention and we have to reinvent ourselves, or we're blessed enough to have someone to mentor us and just show us a better way in the midst of situations.
Right.
So I think that, there's very few people that can testify that they have evolved into this great, successful person without any bumps in the road. Bumps in the road, is our blueprint.
Exactly.
You have to learn how to go over stuff, go around stuff, go through some stuff.
Right.
And then it makes you, it changes you from the inside out in the process.
Mm-hmm.
I tell people all the time, Valerie, that you cannot pin wings on a worm and make a butterfly.
Right.
You have to go through the metamorphosis change that happens on the inside. And when you can be blessed enough to stand on the top of a mountain and not just have an outward change, but an inward change, that's real transformation.
It sure is. It sure is. And you cannot tell a story that you haven't gone through. And it's where I stand constantly and, living in the present. Because if you're not conscious and living in your present, it's hard to understand the direction where you may be going. And it's not always an easy pill to swallow either, because we all have plans that we think is how our lives are supposed to unfold, and it doesn't necessarily end up that way, as we both mentioned. So looking at it from that standpoint, we have to have those testimonies, and without testimonies, those hills, those valleys, those storms, because at the end of every storm is a beautiful rainbow, and that is the most calmest space that we can always be in. And that's that breath, that sigh of relief, because we got through those times. And at the same time, that's when we have to accept the fact and embrace that, wow, I'm a masterpiece because of these things. If I never went through these things, I wouldn't understand this. Oh, now I get that. I understand now all of these things,
Yes, indeed. In the book of Genesis, it talks about Joseph being a dreamer and how his father and his brothers did not understand him. So at some point, his older brother sold him to a group of gypsies, which sold him again to a master. Joseph ended up in prison. While in prison, he learned the government of another country, and eventually, and in the process of that, he discovered that he had a gift of interpreting dreams. And the king of another country had a dream and could not find anyone to interpret his dream. And one of the king's servants said, I met a man in prison who can interpret your dream. Make a long story short, Joseph became the prince under the leadership of the king. He was second in command, Valerie, but the role that he took to get there was full of being sold, being lied on,
right.
being in prison. But he learned all of the lessons of life through that process. So by the time he got to become the Prince of Egypt, he was so well-rounded, even though the road was unconventional.
Yes.
And none of us, have the same road. The Bible talks about there was none before you got here. There was no one like you. After you leave, there will never be one like you.
Yes.
All of us have an individual road, and it would be an injustice for me to try to, mimic or imitate somebody else. I've learned to embrace my own journey, my own bumps and bruises. I'm proud of my battle scars.
Yes.
Because they have taught me lessons in life. I take that as a badge of honor. I've learned how to take a licking and keep on ticking, and I'm proud of that. And I have the scars to prove it, and I have the wisdom to go along with it, and the testimony to share as well. So I totally agree. To get to where we're going, it's not going to be a straight line. Sometimes there's bends and crooks, but the main thing is you keep pushing so you can get to your destination.
That's right. Keep pushing because you're becoming greater in the process of it all. And, there are no shortcuts. There is no cliff notes. You have to go through it all. I wouldn't change one single thing that's ever taken place in my life because the person I have become to date, I wouldn't change it for the world. I wouldn't. The knowledge, the wisdom, sitting, in front of you right now, because it's not something that I chose. And we had a great conversation when we first met some months back. And I think we probably talked for a couple of hours about so many things. So many things.
About life.
And life itself.
And, a lot of times people will look at you or look at me and they'll say, oh, I can do what she does, or I can do what he does.
Right.
But they don't understand the price that we have to pay to be where we are. And I tell people, don't wish, don't say, oh, I wish I could sing like that sister. Because you don't know what she had to go through to have that type of conviction.
Right.
Because the most impressive singers and artists are not the most talented. Exactly. It's the ones that when they sing, you can feel it way down in down in their soul. They're singing out of their testimony.
Right.
They're singing because they've been through it.
Right.
And I can tell the difference when a person is whether they're preaching, whether they're singing, whether they're interacting with people. If they're really into their calling and into every fiber inside of them is involved in the execution of their gift, or are they just talented?
Right.
So there's a price to pay in order to be the best version of yourself. Sure. And you reap what you sow. The people that take shortcuts, you can tell them. They come with a nice package. They come with a nice bowl wrapped around it.
Yeah, it looks good.
But they don't have all the ingredients inside. I totally agree with that. Yes,
it is. And I know, before we talked about that very thing about authenticity and the experience, the scars, the battle wounds, all of that. And I know it's many times I'll say, and I'm writing about it in my second book, my armor is bruised. My armor has been bruised and battered, and I embrace those dents, the scars, the cuts, the breaks, all of those things, because it was necessary. All of it was necessary, and it wasn't for me. And the moment you realize that what we go through isn't for us personally, it's about all the other people, the paths that we're going to cross along the way on our journeys to discovering ourselves. So it's not, by coincidence, my tag is I introduce you to yourself, not because of being an author, but being a conscious lifestyle strategist. And I say that because that's the soul journey that I'm on. That's what God showed me every single day. So I'm not saying that because it sounds good. You know, I have proof behind everything that I've gone through. So that way I'm inspiring and encouraging to somebody else. Guess what? You can do this too. It's just going to take you really unlayering it all, discovering who you are, the purpose in this pain, to turn it into prosperity, to turn it into power, to turn it into a pleasurable moment to where you can say, I enjoy my journey, no matter what it looks like. You know?
Yeah, you know, there's a verse in the Bible that says the harvest is plentiful, but the labors are few.
Yes.
And basically, you know, one way to interpret that is, you know, there's so many people in the world, millions and millions and millions of people in the world, but there's only one me.
Yes.
So if I spend all my time focusing on me,
right,
I'm missing out on opportunity after opportunity to make an impact in so many people around me. And like when you said, you know, the things that you go through are not for you. You know, the things that I've been through are not for me, but they were to mold me and shape me and to season me and to make me wiser, so I can be a better vessel to reach the masses.
Yes.
You know, I think that you're onto something when you say, you know, the things that we survived is not for us. Not for us to keep it secret, not for us to keep it, you know, under a bushel, under a lamp shade, but to, you know, to use everything that it gave us to impact the people around us, the people that we have a chance to have conversation with or influence with.
Exactly.
It's not for us. It's for everybody else.
It's for everybody else. This platform is for everybody else, not for me at all. And in our conversation initially, I was telling you, I was reluctant. I pushed back. I did not want to do this. I didn't want to do it. However, at this point, I'm grateful for it, because when you get feedback of somebody that's reaching out, saying thank you for something that was shared that may be minimal to myself and you, but it's a great deal to somebody else who are not at the level of acceptance where we are. And looking at it for what it is, we talked about what appears to be gifts, what appears to be just something that we've learned, a skill, versus the well. We talked about those 3 points before, and the well is the truth. It's far down. You can't see how far it is. Once you get there, do you have the stamina to come back up? Do you have what is necessary? You're going to have to strategize to understand the purpose of being there, you know? So what would you elaborate a little bit more when it comes to the well?
You know what? Those are such a valid point, because part of the reality is, you know, the Bible talks about in Ephesians chapter 1 around verse 3, it talks about before the foundation of the world, you know, God predestined us.
Yes.
In other words, even though I was born, you know, I did not know what was going on around me as I grew. I was kind of navigating. But the truth is, there's already a path. There's already a calling on my life.
Right.
And, you know, when I find myself navigating and you know, discovering my gifts and discovering, like, wow, I'm pretty good at that, or wow, that comes natural. It helps me to find my way.
Yes.
And then when I look back, I say, man, how did I get here? Or how did I overcome that? Or how did I accomplish that? I have to admit that it wasn't just me by myself.
Exactly.
You know, I have to admit that, wow, there's no way I could have did it on my own. There's no way I could have got to the where I could have got here. You know, but God was with me, and then God had equipped me, and then God, you know, I have a free will, so I can choose to do wrong. I can choose to, you know, go out and ruin my whole life, or I can choose to try to grow, become the best version of myself, and find my path, find my niche, you know, find my natural gifts, and move forward in that. So I think when we talk about the where, I think that for me, I encourage people to understand that, you know, all of us have a calling. I've seen,
Right.
when I was in school, there's teachers, in my opinion, they had no business being in the classroom.
Exactly.
Then there's other teachers that have a calling. They followed their path. They made it to that classroom, whatever their journey was, and they impacted me. And there's teachers that I still keep in contact with.
Right.
And I think, Dr. Matt, it hasn't been for you, or the way that you nurtured us, because those people followed their path and their calling.
Yes.
There's some people that land, they're persistent, they push through the mountains, and they get to where God has called them to be. Other people are somewhere they're not even supposed to be, and they're miserable, and they're making other people miserable.
Exactly.
So I think the where has a lot to do with understanding that there is a journey for you, and you got to find your path, and you got to push through it. You cannot be a follower.
No.
Of people that are going the wrong direction.
Right.
Sometimes you gotta isolate yourself, and I tell people sometimes you got to give people a benediction. You got to be like, hey, this is where I pass in. May the Lord watch between you and me while we're absent. Because we've been to be absent, because I'm going a different direction.
It's a major sacrifice. Yes, you have to sacrifice when you accept the call. It's going to be major changes, and that's where Impromptu comes in. Your life changes instantly. Your associations change, and it's a conscious change. There are going to be some people that you're going to have to eliminate. That some behaviors that we live with every day that we've been conditioned to do has to change. All of these things, and taking that sabbatical over to Isolation Island. I say it all the time. I'm there now on Isolation Island. And that's because it's all about discovering who I am and understanding clearly what my purpose is and moving forward according to that in my life every day, because my actions and who I represent myself to be on my becoming is going to affect the lives of other people. And so I have to be responsible for my actions, for what I do, where I am, associations. And sometimes it's going to be privy to where I may have to reach out to someone that's completely different from me. And that's most of the time. I know you can attest to it, because you don't want to discriminate against anybody. It's all about doing what's necessary in the moments and being excited about doing that without reluctance.
Yes, most definitely. Like you said, there's times where we have to isolate ourselves so that we can hear from God, so we can find our peace, we can find our path. And then, like you said, and then as we move forward, we're more careful with our association. And I would even add to that revelation, because the power of death and life is in our tongues. The people that we purposely become more conscious to associate with will be people, or should be people, that can speak life, that can speak encouragement, that can speak.
Yes.
You can do it. Even though there's hurdles in front of you, when you're around people that speak life into you, that speak encouragement, people that have radical faith, people that have rambunctious faith, people that will push you to do what's inside of you to do.
Right.
So my associations are predicated on people that can speak revelation, that can speak life into me, people that I've shared my vision with, and they say, hey, you can do it. If God is leading you that way, I support you. You can do it. Because what we don't want is we don't want the kryptonite. People that are always taken from us, or the doubters, or the spectators that sit with their arms folded and their legs crossed, just watching you to see if you're going to survive or not. But you need people that are cheerleaders, people that are pushers, people that say, hey, you got this, you can do this. So most definitely our association, because those things, those people influence our decisions, and we are a collection of our decisions.
Right. And it just takes that endurance and focus and determination, because when you are walking within your calling, and you know that without a doubt, because God has shown you, it's not an easy road at all. It's going to be some trials. It's going to be some tests that you're going to have to pass in order to get to where you're going. It's all a part of the sculpting. It's a part of becoming and understanding the cultivation, going through those vines and through that wilderness and understanding, oh my God, I had to go through this. Well, what is this about? And had to learn, don't ask why. Just accept, move on, keep a clear vision, and hold tight in your heart of what he's already shown you. First of all, you have to have that higher calling. You have to know that there is someone higher than we are. It's a purpose behind the intent, even though we may not understand it. But staying in grace in it, staying true to yourself, and accepting that, because at the end of the day, all those battle scars are going to be worth it. I know for me, it is. And it's no option of quitting. It's no option of turning around. It's only forward.
Yeah, some of the things that, and let me just kind of share a testimony real quick, and related to what you're saying about making it through different things, and there's a purpose for it. A year and 8 months ago, man, and that's why I wish that I was able to come on your live so people can see me. Because a year and 8 months ago, I suffered a massive stroke. Mm-hmm. I had a blood clot in the left side of my brain, the lower part of my head. And to make a long story short, I went through this excruciating episode of having a full-blown stroke. Almost died.
Yes.
There at the hospital. I had to have brain surgery to remove the blood clot out of my brain. It's taken me now a year and 8 months. My vision, I lost, had double vision, paralyzed from my right ankle up to the right side of my face. And today I have, my eyesight is back. I have no mobility or, paralysis. I'm driving. I'm doing everything I did before. Yeah. And when I was going through therapy and learning to walk again, and having a ophthalmologist surgeon prepping me for eye surgery and all of this stuff.
Yes.
I said, God, why? Am I having to go through all this?
Right.
And to make a long story short, Saturday I get a phone call from a friend of mine's daughter. He suffered a stroke a couple months ago, and he's not doing very good. So last night the family put on a benefit banquet to raise money to help with all the medical expenses. Yes. So I went to the banquet last night as a request of the family to speak on behalf of a person who has been through a stroke.
Yes.
And that can stand in front of a congregation of hundreds of people and say, God is able to do it.
Yes, he is.
A year and 8 months ago, I was in the same place, your father was at. And today I'm standing before you. And the amazing thing is, before I had a stroke, I wore glasses. But in my recovery, the ophthalmologist described it as my eyes overcorrected, and now I have 20/20 vision. I don't even have to wear glasses anymore.
Yes,
so
that is
so good.
Oh my gosh.
To where I'm better after the stroke than before I had the stroke. And it gave the family encouragement. So you're right. A lot of things that we go through, it's not for me. It's not for us.
Right.
But we have to be on display.
Absolutely.
We are walking miracles.
Right.
We are walking examples of what God can do.
Right.
And and like you said, you have to believe there's a higher power. And everybody's not going to believe that there's a God. Everybody's not going to believe in Jesus Christ, and that's fine. That's their choice. But I think there's enough room for all of it. There's some people say, well, I'm an activist, or I'm a community leader. I'm the and unfortunately in the black community, we have what I call the crabs in the barrel syndrome. Mm-hmm. Where if I'm not an activist, I'm criticizing activists, or if I'm not a politician. There's enough room for all of it. We need activists, we need politicians, we need, and we need love. We need people that are spreading love. I'm in my 50s now, and when I was growing up, we didn't exclude, respecting our elders and
right.
respecting each other and respecting each other. We didn't call our parents by their first name. I think that, two things. Number one, what we go through is not for us, and number two, yes, we have to believe that there's a God, but for everybody that don't,
exactly.
Don't be so quick. Just because your life is consumed in one vocation, be open to each other. Be open to
right.
respecting the contribution that all of us are making to our community.
Exactly.
Because it takes all of us to make this thing work.
It does. And like you said, the foundation is love. And it doesn't matter who you decide to, say this is your higher power. No matter what name you call, that's where the truth of it comes from. That it's something greater than you. That things can change in a matter of moments, and that's where the truth comes. What you actually believe. You have to believe that it's something greater. Otherwise, how is it going to be possible to come out on the other side? To have a testimony such as the one that you have, and you have quite a few, and so it takes those war wounds to be visible. And Maria Weather, she said, yes, sometimes we have to be the voice for those that can't speak, and it encouraged them to share, because you can't be zip-lipped. You have to talk about it. If you're not talking about it, you're not healed from it. And that's just one way to look at that. And I know it was, for me, for the longest time, to be quiet about things. However, when the book came out, I had to reveal things that most people never knew. And it was a healing. It was, that type of therapy for myself, and what I didn't know, unbeknownst to me, of how it healed other people in spaces, not because they lost a child or children. It was because of other things that they kept swept under the rug until they realized, well, if she can do it, I can too. And that was the benefit of it.
That is so beautiful.
Yeah.
I think that for years and years, in our community, we have that unspoken rule.
Yes.
What happens in this house stays in this house.
Stays in the house.
Don't tell people your business, and but I think we do that at the risk of not being healthy emotionally.
Right.
And we become actors and actresses and ventriloquists and impersonators and imposters, and not really being free to say, hey, I've been through some stuff.
Right.
And I think our generation is a lot more open to that, and we see the power in it. I've never struggled with, we've all struggled with something, but I have friends that struggle with certain things, and that's their whole ministries. Hey, I'm opening up a recovery program, and they just got it all out and open. Like, this is,
right.
This is what I've been through. This is, if anybody can help you, I can help you. I've been through it, and it empowers us, and we take away that shame from the devil, because it's not a secret anymore.
Right.
And I am very rough on the church about, shaming people because they made a mistake.
Right.
And we have to get away from that, because everybody makes mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell the church, the only difference between that person and you is they got caught and you didn't get caught.
Exactly.
So we don't want to have an environment where, a person can't make a mistake and recover from the mistake and use that as now they're wiser. And I think that as a community, we have to continue to preach and teach what you're saying is, we got to come out. Everybody else is out the closet, so, we need to come out and be transparent, because that's what's healthy. When we're hiding stuff, that's where, things got the sun hitting it, and it's clean, and it's, sunlight is disinfectant,
Yes, it is.
And people can love you and respect you because we're overcomers, and truly, I think that's the best way to go.
Right. And being vulnerable, being transparent, being authentic, speaking your truth, wearing your badge of scars, that's when you evolve. That's when you soar. That's when you become who you are meant to be. That's when you can reach other people. When you can reach somebody else along those lines, and you can have engaging conversations about what you've gone through, hear what their stories are. That is what it's about. It's community. It's holding that hand and being there, even if it's just to listen. You have to take on responsibilities of that, and that's a part of the acceptance of self. And if we're not willing to listen, are not willing to help or stop, slow down for a moment to notice that somebody else is in pain, that's where we as a community is going wrong. And you have to be mindful to take self out, put God in the middle of everything, show what love is, display it by being it. So that is the most important thing to me, to not look at the reflection of who you are in the mirror, but who are you helping today? What have you done to reach out to somebody else? That type of affirmation of things, because not just what would Jesus do, what would God do? I take it there, take it all the way there, because he is love, full circle, no beginning or end. So when you can display that in your character of life, now you're doing something. Now you have something to talk about. Hashtag that. That's how I look at it.
That's powerful. In my world, the way I say it is, you're most anointed or you're most powerful when you talk about things that you've been through,
right?
That you know.
Mm-hmm.
When I talk about God as a healer,
right?
My passion, my emotions, my spirit,
everything
connected to that topic. When I talk about, God can help you to raise his children,
right.
So, and in my world, I say, the enemy, the devil tries to keep us in shame because he knows that if we embrace those things that we've come through, that's when we're most powerful.
Right.
And, we feel ashamed or we won't talk about it. Or we've been sick. We don't want anybody to know we've been sick. And here God has allowed you to be healed.
Right.
And you won't even share the most powerful thing that you have going for you. So you become ineffective or neutral.
Right.
When you really can have power to impact
right.
people's lives.
Right.
You are most powerful, like this platform that you have. This is something where you're on the East Coast, I'm all the way on the West Coast.
Right.
And we're both pouring our hearts out passionately, because this is something that, that God has led you to do, that you've been through, and you're going to reach the world through the things that you've overcome. And that's
right.
powerful.
Right.
People will sit up and listen to somebody who's being real and transparent and authentic, because there's something empowering about a person talking about what they've overcome.
Right.
Because all of us, Valerie, are overcoming something.
Yes.
And I may not be overcoming what you've been through, but just your testimony encourages me. If God did it for her, then man, he can do the same thing for me.
Yes. And that's without doubt. And just knowing it. You have to feel it and believe it to know, because sometimes you may question, well, why did this happen? Or why am I going through this? Even now, today, with things that I'm dealing with personally right now, I can say that, but I choose not to, because I just embrace it for what it is in the moments because of what he's already done in the past. So I already know this. I know it's going to be a grand outcome. And it's just another elevation for myself because that means he's strengthening me for something. Something major is on the cusp of happening. So this is the very point of me having to hang out on Isolation Island. It's a point behind that because I do need to hear instructions, next steps, all of these things. You know, it's all about taking things to the next level and accepting it, no matter what it looks like. No matter what it looks like, we have to walk in it just knowing that the outcome is going to be beautiful. That calm after the storm is beautiful. Look forward to that, but don't miss the present at the same time. Go through it with grace. Have some optimism in the tears. Have a strong back. Focus and say, you know what, God, I trust you. I got you. Whatever you say, okay, got it. So if you're putting me through it, you must gonna bring me through it. Okay, I got you. You want me to do what? What you say? You gotta be kidding. Because this is the conversations that I have with him. You gotta be kidding me. Why are you showing me this? Is this where this is going? Okay, then fine. And that's how I look at things. Like, it's not about me. Put on your halo, turn the light on, and just rock through it. That's it.
That's so powerful. That's powerful. You know, I've noticed in my life, the greater the storm I've gone through, it's because the greater the blessing, the greater opportunity.
Yes.
You know, that God has given me.
Yes.
Talk about music. Well, let me just say this. To piggyback on the point you made about having grace while you're going through it. You know, I think it shows more faith when you don't wait till the battle's over, but you just go ahead and give God a shout of confidence and belief that He's going to bring you through.
Right.
So yeah, I'm a proponent of when you're going through something, you know, don't wait until you get through it to say thank you, but have the faith to thank God for delivering you even while you're still in it.
Exactly.
Make a long story short, I was to talk about music for a minute. I'm a songwriter mostly, and I wrote a song a couple years ago, and I recorded it with an old school R&B singer named Lenny Williams. It's a gospel song. It's the first gospel song that Lenny recorded. Beautiful song.
It is.
And
are you kidding me? Look at this. Let's get him back on the line. Rebuke him. I rebuke you, ye Satan.
Hey, can you hear me?
I got it. Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, so I recorded the song and with Lenny and myself, and there's another guy who heard the song who wanted to record the song with Lenny. And he's a popular gospel artist named Teddy Cross back south.
Yes.
So I yielded. I said, yes, of course, because it's my song. So I got a call today that the song is doing really well back south on this genre of music called Southern Soul.
Yes.
You know, which is basically like old school love songs, and but some kind of way that back south they'll mix gospel with our own songs.
Yes.
But
the crossover.
Lenny Williams is like a legend, you know, when it comes to love songs and that type of stuff. So I got a call today from a music producer saying, hey, make sure you have all of your paperwork in order because the song is tracking, you know, on radio stations, 500 radio stations back south, and they're calling me today. And this past week, I had so many little trials and tribulations, and but I just kept my head up and kept pushing. And I said, man, every time there's a trial, there's tribulation, there's always because God is getting ready to do something great in my life.
Yes.
So I related to, you know, when you said have grace while you're going through it because it's gonna end up good. So yes, I you 100%. When you're going through stuff, don't hang your head down, but keep pushing, because something good is going to happen. That's why the enemy is messing with you in the first place.
Yes. He just tried to tap in and hung up on you. I say, ain't nobody got time for that. So I had to call you back. Who do you think you're dealing with? I think not tonight. But you know what? You know, it's the beauty in it all. It's hard to put in words, you know, when you have grown to understand and know what to look for, even when we may not understand it. We still know to just move forward, accept that, learn from that. Be sure to put that in your arsenal. You know, it's just a conscious lifestyle, and knowing that God's got it, period. That's the end of it right there, no matter what it looks like. And that's, you know, one of the things that I'm writing about in book number 2. I accept me. At least that's what I thought the title was going to be. I learned here recently that's not even a chapter. I mean, that's not the title. That's a chapter for me to write about. So at this point, I don't even know what the title of my book is. And I've been writing it for all this time, but then it was the same thing with the last book. It was the exact same thing. So it's a lot of truth to that. When you have written something or you feel like it's a story that you're telling, or for me, I thought it should have been out already. But however, going through all the things that I'm dealing with my life present and up to this point, I now understand why the book hasn't been released, because there's so many things I've experienced that has to go in it. It still has to go in it. So until that final period is there, that book is still going to remain open, not closed for distribution until he says so. So I know to be obedient and stand true in it, no matter what it looks like, no matter what it feels like, the bruises that come along the way. Focus is what's key. Knowing what the end has looked like in the past, and to know this time, oh my gosh, it must be greater this time. You are really putting me through it this time. Like, oh my gosh, I can't even wait for it. So when you see that movie reel of your life playing, you see it. You see what's to come. You see what's going on in the present, and it doesn't match with what your view and your vision is. That's a celebration, because you know what the end is. You know what the outcome is. And writing those testimonies about yourself, and when we were talking about the well before, and how you write your songs, even with the one with Lenny Williams, when you have those types of sounds. And I did put that song, I forwarded it from YouTube over to my timeline this afternoon, because I felt it was necessary to play that song. And I told you that was the one that I liked so much from the first time we met. It's just something about it and that testimony. Knowing where you've been and where you are today. How dare you, whoever you are, and don't even have glasses on. And I'm sitting here with readers on, just, you know, pushing through it, but celebrate you at the same time, because your story only you can share. You can share that story. I can't, but when you talk about it, I feel it. I feel that. And that's how powerful it is.
Yeah, it's totally amazing. You know, I encourage people to embrace your journey. You know, I'm a songwriter. You know, I can sing, but I come from a musical family.
Yes.
And my dad was a musician, a singer, and there was 11 of us. So there were 6 boys and 5 girls.
Yes.
So him and my mom raised all of us to play musical instruments, to sing. So, but I learned when I was young that, you know, I can sing, but my stronger gift is writing songs.
Yes.
Because as talented as my family was, I felt like I was definitely part of the group, you know. But I was one one that God had given us the ability to write songs.
Mm-hmm.
So we weren't just singing everybody else's songs, but we can sing our own songs.
Mm-hmm.
So as I got older, me and my brothers we all got married, went our different ways, and I started recording myself, the songs that I was writing.
Right.
And but the songs that I wrote were songs that was from my heart, things I had been through. I'm not the kind of person that can say, well, I'm just going to sit down and write a song today.
Right.
It has to come to me, and it has to be connected to something that I've been through.
Right.
In 2001, my wife was diagnosed with breast cancer.
Mm-hmm.
We have 4 children. I have a 10-year-old son, a 8-year-old daughter, a 6-year-old son, and a 3-year-old daughter. And in 2002, my wife passed away from breast cancer. Mm-hmm. So here I am. I had 2 full-time. I had 2 jobs, working 2 jobs.
Wow. One
was working for the state of California, and the other one was pastoring the church. And now I'm by myself with 4 kids, 10 years old and younger, from 10 to 3 years old.
Okay.
So, fast forward, so I had to go through that. I had to go through that journey. Today, my oldest son is 27. My daughter, she's in Chicago
mm-hmm.
on a scholarship for a PhD. She's 25.
Awesome.
My son is 23. He's engaged to be married. And then my baby girl is 20 years old now. She's in college here in California. So it's only been by the grace of God.
He'll do it.
So I'm sorry, go ahead.
I said he'll do it.
Yeah, those hills and valleys, when we talk about going to the well, the more you go through, the greater your blessing.
Yeah.
The more you go through, the more you can dig down in that well.
Yes.
And the more you go through, the deeper the well is. I write songs. I didn't really know how impactful my songs were. And there's a brother. He's a brother to me. We grew up as kids together here in Sacramento, and he
mm-hmm.
has become a Stellar Award winner, Dove Award winner, musician, and music producer.
Yes.
He's played with everybody. Some of the songs you hear on the radio, he's wrote the song, produced the song, and we are like brothers. And one day I wrote this song called "I Need to Be Loved,"
uh-huh.
And I let him hear it. And he was like, "Man, are you kidding me? This song is fantastic." And I was like, "Get out of here, man!" So he takes out his cell phone and he calls Lionel Richie, right?
Did he?
Yeah, and he says, "Lionel," he goes, "listen, he goes, and then he has Lionel Richie on speakerphone. He goes, "Lionel, I just want you to listen to the song." He goes, "and all I want you to do is tell me what you think of the song when it's done." So he plays my song, and I'm just finished like, number one, I can't believe he just pulled his phone out and called Lionel Richie.
Lionel Richie,
so,
yeah.
So when the song was over, Lionel Richie said, "Who wrote that song?" And Derek said, and my friend name is Derek Allen. Derek said, "My pastor wrote the song." And Lionel said, he goes, "What I want to say is, years ago, I wrote a song with this guy named Michael Jackson called 'We Are the World.'"
Mm.
He goes, "and this song that I just heard is that kind of song. It's like an anthem." He goes, "and it's every bit as good as the song that I wrote. You guys just need to make sure that the world hears the song." And I was just like, man, this is Lionel Richie just really giving a critique and saying that this song reminds him of, and it's every bit as good as "We Are the World."
Right. That's complimentary.
From that day, I realized, I said, and that song that I wrote was a song that I wrote after my wife, or actually before my wife passed, but it was related to some of the things that I had been through.
Wow.
And so I encourage people. I tell people, the greater your trial, the greater your blessing. The greater your persecution, the more power you're going to have. Don't shy away from those things that you've been through, because the greater things that you survive, the the more anointed you're going to be.
Yes.
The more emotionally attached and sensitive you will be. So it's a badge of honor. And, I got a call today saying that one of my songs is being played at 500 radio stations back south.
Congratulations.
Now that song Rescue Me, I wrote after my wife passed away. And
it's
years later now, people are feeling the passion that's in the lyrics of that song.
Yes, it is. It is. It really makes you stop and listen. That's one of the reasons why I went ahead and forwarded it to the timeline, because I didn't know for sure if you were going to be able to share anything with us tonight, if you were going to sing anything, play anything. So I went ahead and took the liberties. You hear me, don't you? So I went ahead and shared something on the timeline.
You're so thorough because you recorded it. Yeah, because with all of the technology not working, man, I wish that I would have been able to get on because, I think that, this would have, but I thank God that we're able to share tonight the way that we are sharing. But maybe perhaps in the future we can do it again.
We'll have to.
And
I'll have to bring you back.
Yeah, and perhaps in the future I'll be able to share some of my music the next time we get together.
Well, that's fine because they can find you on iTunes. You're there.
Most definitely.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
iTunes, YouTube, it's all right there.
Yes. So you got all types of accolades, on the timeline, lots of amazing so-truths. This life got me so full right now. I think Barbara Miller, she was saying that, she's grateful because you really touched her tonight. So it's lots of gratitude because what you're saying needs to be said. That's why I say share, share, share. Every TVM conversation is a juicy conversation. So you have to share it because somebody somewhere needs to hear the conversations that's taking place. Everybody is not on my timeline. Everybody is not going to be on Pastor Morris's timeline. However, by you engaging and in the room and you feel all the emotion that's erupting inside of you, go ahead, share it to the people that are on your timeline so they can continue to share. Otherwise, we can't reach the people who needs it. And it's important. It's important. We're in a time to where it's not about self. It's not. It's about sharing and being present, helping others that may need it, even though they're quiet. Not everybody's in a place of voicing how they feel, sharing what they're feeling. They're not there yet because we have to encourage them to do that very thing and unleash their sparrow. It's about time to unleash what's inside and stand outside of yourself, to be well-rounded, to be truthful to yourself, to be honest and loving. You have to do that.
That's powerful. That is so powerful. Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
So powerful.
And
we have to share.
We have to share. It's time out for being quiet. It's communicating. And, the platforms of people that do interviews, I say, shift the interviews to have engaging conversations. Let's not be scripted. However, be unscripted. Because you and I didn't plan what we were going to talk about tonight. It's all about letting God use you. Whatever needs to come out comes. That's the way I feel about it. It's don't plan things, because when you plan things in spaces like this, you are orchestrating. You're taking the power in your own hands. When you allow for conversation to take its own place, then what needs to come out is shared.
That's so powerful. Let me just say this real quick.
Yes.
Like when you were saying that we all need to share. Jesus took 12 people, 12 disciples.
Yes.
And they echoed the same thing. And I think that's a biblical way of saying they shared the same thing. They were on the same page.
Yes.
They said the same thing. And were just all get on one accord. You know, for those 12 people that Jesus poured into, they poured into other people. Those people poured into people. So they were echoing the same message.
Right.
And I think that that's something that when I hear you encouraging us to share, I think you're actually training, teaching the power of being on one accord. Because the masses can be reached with a handful of people.
Yes.
If they share, and then they tell their friends, now you share.
Right.
And those people share.
Right.
And before you know it, you know, you have powerful, meaningful substance, you know, going viral because a handful of people understood the power of being in agreement.
Yes.
That's powerful when we are in agreement. All it takes is 12 people, and the world could be changed if we can just learn to be in agreement.
Exactly. Because think about it, it's already taken place. I'm in North Carolina, East Coast. You're in California, West Coast. And then we have some Floridas. We have some South Carolinas. We've got some in multitudes of spaces that I'm not, that you're not. However, these lives are in those cities or in those countries. And only God knows who's going to see the replays because everything I do is shared publicly. So you never know. And it's vital. I firmly believe that that's what it's going to take to reach masses. Simply sharing. It's a click of a button on the World Wide Web. It can go everywhere.
It's a mindset. It's a mindset of agreement. You know,
right.
You know, because some people we're conditioned to be divided.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're conditioned not to support.
Right.
You know, we're conditioned not to. If you open up, you know, a beauty hair salon, you know, we're conditioned to go down the street to the Asian people and buy theirs, but not come support yours.
Exactly.
So it's a mindset that can be corrected with just
absolutely
teaching the power of agreement.
Yes.
You know, and you know, the Bible said a house divided cannot stand. You know, divided together we stand, divided we fall.
Exactly.
And the more we have people like you using your platform to keep teaching us about being in agreement and, you know, being on one accord, you know, it's a push of a button, but the bigger problem is getting our minds conditioned to support one another.
Yes.
And as you keep teaching and keep using your platform to share that part right there, more people will start to say, you know what, I'm going to push my button when I get done with this, or while I'm, you know, I'm going to share this with my friends, right, or have a watch party while I'm watching it, because this is good. This is substance. This is right, healthy. So I love that about your show, is that, you know, you're teaching us about being in agreement.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Because I sit here, I have a lot of experience. A lot may come through this book at the same time and future books, but it's not me. It's not me at all. I'm just being the voice behind the camera. I'm the voice because it's facts. Somebody somewhere needs what's being said. And I'll always say that. And it's not always about the words, the literature that's within the binds of a book. It's also the lyrics that you have, that you write in the songs. And that's why this platform is set up the way it is. It's about music and the words, what you speak over yourself, what you accept, and how you live your life every day. What is your character? Who are you as an individual? How are you affecting the people that you have contact with? How are you reaching out to somebody else to show some grace, some love, and some kindness, some compassion? Even with your next door neighbor, do you even know who they are? So it's taking liberties to be different, to be the love that you're seeking. It doesn't only remains with you. It's everybody. Who are you affecting?
Wow, that's powerful. We have to consciously, intentionally, on purpose, move ourselves in that direction to make an impact.
Yes.
You know, because you're right. We can live particularly nowadays, we can live next door to somebody for years
and don't know
and
them.
not even know their names.
Yes.
Do
And
not
on
know
the
their
other
names.
part, yeah. On the other hand, I make a point. I need to know who my neighbors are. Because your neighbors look out for you just like you look out for them, even when you don't know they're looking out for you. And it's too many times that has reigned to be true. And we'll knock on your door. We'll show up to make sure you're okay. Those simple things, you know, it doesn't have to be grandiose things. It's the simple things that we can do every single day to make a difference. And it starts by us being the example of it. Don't talk about it, but just do something different to make the changes that you want to see. That's why these are necessary.
That's right. Intentionally, on purpose.
Right.
Because if not, we're just going to, you know, go through the motions and get comfortable in our routines.
Right.
And our life becomes less impactful. You know, so
yes.
I totally agree with that.
Right.
Totally.
Yes. But you know what, Pastor? You know, you and I, we can go in. You know, we can talk like that. You know, we can.
Okay.
However, I'm going to have to bring you back. I told the Sparrows it was going to be juicy. I told them that. And you know, it's got to be a part 2.
Yes, because the enemy, you know, he didn't want us to be live with you guys. We're gonna be live. We're gonna come back and we're gonna take it to a whole nother level.
Yes, sir. I'm working on some streaming right now that's going to allow that to be just so every single time. It's not going to be any flukes, none of that. It's going to be fabulous and on point.
I'm humbled and I'm honored that you thought enough of me to be a guest, and really, really admire what you're doing, and just want to encourage you to, you know, take this thing to an international level. The Bible says, be faithful over few things, and I'll make you ruler over greater things.
Yes.
And I just want to speak success and influence and greatness and prosperity into your ministry, because this is part of your calling. This isn't something you're just doing. You know, I can tell, and I have that type of discernment. I know that this is something God has for you to do to heal people, and I'm honored, and thank you for thinking enough of me to invite me to share with you guys tonight.
Wow, thank you. That means a lot. It really does. It's not an easy feat. However, I love every second of it. Every second. And I appreciate you very much. I'm grateful for you coming on tonight. It was necessary for you to be in the room, even though we had to just have you by phone, but I'm grateful for that, because rain or shine, it's going down in the room with my guests. So I'm honored. The next time you will be side by side, and you know, it could be something where we can be face to face, sitting next to each other in the same room. You never know. So I look forward to that. I appreciate you. The Sparrows appreciate you. It's so much taking place in the room to where we haven't been able to engage with all of the comments. However, after the fact, if you could go in, be sure to put your information in where you can be contacted, and follow all of your social media, X, Y's, and Z's. Please do due diligence, and if you can respond to the Sparrows, I would greatly appreciate that as well. I'm looking forward to next time, and I'm going to get you back on sooner than later, because we're nowhere near finished. Nowhere.
Okay. I definitely will respond to the comments, and I look forward to talking to you soon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Lots of love. Take it easy out there in California. We'll be in touch again soon.
All right. Bye-bye now.
Ciao, ciao. There you have it, Sparrows. We have Pastor Morris in from Sacramento, and we're going to have him back on again. We just have to. There's no way. And I try to be mindful to keep the shows at a bare minimum, but my God, Jesus, no, it never happens. It's always a minimum hour. However, it goes an hour and a half, 2 hours, 2.5 hours. But I have to draw the line in the sand so we can have them come back on at a later date. And I just want to say many thanks to all of you for sticking it out. It was some drama on the front end, however, revelation on the back end. And sending lots of love out to you. We will be engaging with comments within the room, and be sure, keep in touch, follow, Pastor Mars, because he has a live every Tuesday night, every Tuesday night, and it's worth viewing. It's worth viewing. So be sure to follow him as well. So on that note, I'm going to say love without conditions. Always possess a positive attitude and soar in all you do. I love you, mean it. Smooches.